was the Scrambler 1200 launch that we were doing. I got Taylor Mackenzie, Dan Limfoot, Gary Johnson, Joe Ackroyd, Alan Batson as my guide riders, and I was like, right, we're going to take you out and do the route now. So we went out and did this route, and honestly, I thought I was like a proper hero. I was like, yeah, peg to peg to peg. Get back to the hotel. I had a GoPro on my back looking at them. I thought I was riding hard to get down this road. They're all just like doing wheelies and messing about behind me. But it was such a great road. Every corner's cambered and it just throws you in and pulls you around. It was just up and down. I was on a brand new Tiger 1050 that hadn't been seen yet, and I was just running it in while I was up in Scarborough. I did not know those jumps were coming, and I was fully airborne on this thing. And I'm like, oh my God. What a great run.
All right, welcome back, where we talk all things motorcycling and occasionally bring on people who probably know us a bit too well. Now, today's guest is someone Andrew's known for over 10 years, from riding all over North Yorkshire to questionable weekends away in Scarborough, which we may or may not get into. He spent over 15 years at Triumph Motorcycles, running global events, has over 25 years in the industry, and now runs Woodcote Events, delivering premium automotive experiences across the UK. He's got a serious amount of experience, a lot of stories, and unfortunately for us, plenty of material on all of us too. So please welcome Gareth to Just Ride.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so before we get really straight into it, what we're going to have to do tonight is we've got scripts, because if we don't have scripts, we will talk for hours and hours, and we'll go off piste, won't we? We'll talk about other things.
Only some people will talk for hours. Come on.
But I know, Gareth, I mean, how nervous are you that the fact we've got loads of stories on you?
Who have you spoken to?
Everybody.
Can I just say to our viewers and listeners, I think it's very important to make them aware that we have just come from the pub.
Have we?
No, we had some food. We had some food because Gareth has joined us in the podcast tonight, and he's actually staying over in a luxury apartment, which is just next door.
I am. Yeah, looking forward to it.
He's got great bed and breakfast rates. I think producer Tom's making him breakfast in the morning. Is that right? I think you are. But no, welcome. Seriously, we've been wanting to get you in the studio for quite some time, and I know we've known each other for forever. So, for anyone listening, how would you describe yourself to the bike world? Come on, we're going to start you off with a good one.
Well, firstly, thank you for having me. Obviously, you've already run out of guests. So how would I describe myself? Yeah, I've been in the bike industry, like you say, for 25 years plus. I just love everything to do with motorcycling. I've met some amazing people throughout my career so far to date, and hopefully many, many more. And clearly yourself, Andrew. And it's given me the life that I have, that I enjoy. So, yeah, I think for me, everything to do with bikes is so important, and it's, like I say, it shaped my life.
I think for as long as I've ever known you, it has been your life.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll talk about Triumph a little bit later on, but, yeah, you've always just been bikes.
Yeah.
Talking bikes, sleeping bikes, riding bikes. But I'm interested to know you got into bikes because of your now wife. So tell us how that started.
Well, I introduced her as my first fiancée, but second wife.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
story
like
there.
Joe, if you're listening, we want to know more about that.
She was the one that actually got me into bikes. So we met when we were 18 in Nottingham, where I was living with my mates and she was a student. Met in a nightclub, as you used to do before swiping left or right.
Nightclubs, can you
I know. It was great that then. Over a drunken bar and a sort of a shimmy on a dance floor and all that kind of stuff. She clearly found me attractive, which is obvious. I mean, look at me.
Was she wearing glasses and
She had a cane and a dog with her. So we got together, and she had a friend that had a motorbike in Norfolk, actually.
At
the Hein Gerrick shop, if you remember those.
Yes, yeah.
And she wanted to go out on the back of a bike, and as a jealous boyfriend, I was like, what? You want to go out on the back of someone's motorbike? That sounds a bit weird. So I then booked a CBT for her and me to do. So we both did our CBT. And then I went and sort of just fell in love at that minute. I did my CBT, and then
with the bike or with Joe?
Well, that was the bike then.
Oh, so it was the bike.
Yeah, it was. And
I don't mean I love you all my heart.
Were you saying that to Joe or my wife? Oh, right, okay. Yeah, and then went and did my full test, got my bike, and just the bikes were everything. And then obviously Joe and I then went our separate ways when we were young. We were a bit too young at that point to sort of get married. Yeah. Had our separate lives, and then because of an accident I was in 2019. Yeah. Our lives kind of came back together again, and here we are now, remarried to Joe, and set up life and business and everything together.
How did that? So you mentioned that. I mean, for anybody listening, how did that sort of accident bring you together? Was she in the hospital? Was she your nurse?
She wasn't a nurse.
Because this could go down a really interesting path.
I'd already split with my then wife at the time. I took my kids on holiday to Norfolk, where she was in the tourism industry. Okay. And she was the manager at a tourist attraction. And I took my kids there and sort of met up with Joe and was like, oh, hiya, and all that kind of stuff.
Remember me?
Yeah. This guy. And yeah, had a nice time, and we sort of kept in touch a little bit afterwards. And then lives again, sort of, she was with somebody and we were doing our own thing. And then, the bike accident happened. And because she knew somebody who worked at Triumph, who was the visitor centre at Triumph, and there was a manager there, and that manager actually used to work with Joe back in Norfolk. I mean, it's like you say, six separation, all that sort of stuff, how everything links together. She then sort of told Joe that, your ex-boyfriend Gareth has been in a bike accident and all this sort of stuff, and she then had split with her boyfriend at the time and then got back in touch, but I wasn't answering my phone at that point, and somebody had told my dad and all this sort of stuff, and then eventually we got back together, and
Were you playing hard to get? Is that a tactic of yours?
Yeah.
I'm not going to answer that phone.
I didn't want to answer the phone to anybody when at that point. I was
a bit extreme, like, do you know what I mean? To get that attention.
Yeah, so that's how it sort of came back round, and
So you mentioned there your first love of motorcycles. So it was an Aprilia. Was it an Aprilia RS 125? How did that work out for you?
Do you know what? It was one of I did my CBT, and I thought I'm going to go straight out and get a bike, because I've now got a license, and I thought that was the cheapest way to get on a bike. And I have to say, the little RS 125 that I bought, I remember going to Northampton to pick it up. I was working at Lloyd's TSB at the time, and one of my colleagues had driven me to Northampton, dropped me off, and then I had to ride this bike back on L plates, not taking a motorway from Northampton. It felt like such a long way back to Nottingham, and I managed to get this bike back, and I loved it. It was great fun, and it was a wicked little thing, and I had it for, 6 months, a year, and at that point you start to realise there's not a lot of power in this, and I want a bit more, and I then went and did my full licence, and then upgraded. But it was one of those ones where you kind of wish you almost kept it, because it was such a cool little thing.
I'm just curious to know what the upgrade was.
I then went to a CBR 600, which was just a lovely bike. And I got it because of my friend Kev. He had one, and he rode it really well. And I thought, I love that. I'm going to get the same sort of thing. And did some touring on it, and trips and holidays. And I don't think I did a track day on that one, but I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it taught me a lot about riding a bike.
Great bike.
Was that the point where motorcycles were becoming your life? Was that kind of where you were hooked and thinking, right, I need to get more involved in this? Is that kind of the pivotal moment? Yeah.
I think the 125 got me sort of into bikes, and then upgrading and getting your full license, and just thinking, this is just the best thing in the world. Why doesn't anybody else do this? And at that point, didn't have many friends in bikes. It was just, going out on my own, or Joe and I going out for rides and things like that. And then eventually your world starts to open up. If you want it to open up, your world starts opening up in front of you.
Were you going out as a rider and pillion, or were you going out on separate?
Rider and pillion.
Yeah.
Because Joe enjoyed going out on the bike, so we used to go to Norfolk. It was quite funny because obviously with parents and stuff, I would literally ride there and just drop her off and then go. And it was like quite a long journey just to get to Norfolk and back.
How did she feel about that? Right, see you later, Joe. I'm going for a ride.
Yeah. No, it's good. I enjoyed that bike.
When I first met Gareth, I used to think his name was Gareth Triumph, because that's all I ever knew him as.
Everybody knew me. Even myself, I stopped sort of calling my surname, it was always Gareth from Triumph.
Yeah, that's all it ever was. It's funny, funny.
So how did you get into Triumph? Because you talked about there working at the bank.
Yeah.
And being a young man at that point, and then obviously you've spent so many years at Triumph doing their events and things. So how did that start?
My first journey sort of into the motorcycle industry in terms of a career, I was at the bank. And then there was an internal job that I saw on their intranet, which was with Lloyd's finance, motorcycle finance, Black Horse.
Yeah.
And I thought, I could put two of my things together, my sort of career that I'm going down and my passion, which is bikes. So I applied for the job. And I remember the interview, and I remember trying to do something a bit different that anybody else in an interview would do. And I took some props with me. It wasn't a blow-up sheep or a doll or anything like that. I took some things that meant or sort of painted a picture of who I am as my interview, and I just sort of got those out and said, there was a bike and some things like that, and I said, this is who I am, this is my sort of stuff.
An inflatable bike.
Yeah. But obviously they saw that as, this guy's quite quick, he clearly enjoys bikes and stuff, and I got the job, and that was it. I was sort of into the bike industry, and I was with Black Horse for 2.5, 3 years, going around the dealers. Back then, you would visit the business manager at the dealership, and it was when they all smoked in the business room at the back and all that kind of stuff. And you'd go and sort the finance deals out. I then got approached by GE Money. They wanted to get into doing motorcycle finance, so I thought, why not? Let's have a go. And unfortunately, that didn't work out as I hoped and as they planned. And then got made redundant very quickly after moving and jumping. So you go on, sending out CVs, all that sort of stuff, and sent out a lot of CVs. But I knew back then Bruno Tagliaferri, who was the national sales manager for Triumph. Yeah. Because when I was at Black Horse, not only was it a job, it was a passion, and I used to go to lots of dealer launches, dealer openings, and be there as a representative from Black Horse, and got to meet Bruno and stuff like that. And anyway, cut a long story short, Bruno called me up and said, we think there might be a job coming up if you'd be interested. And that was kind of the opening for me then to get into Triumph, thanks to Bruno, because he got me in, and I started my career as the national sales manager for parts, clothing and accessories for Triumph, and then worked my way through the business and loved every minute of every day I spent at Triumph. Genuinely.
That's amazing.
How did you get into, because I know you were, when I sort of picked up and talking to you, crikey, it was 10 years ago, wasn't it? How did you then get into the global events? How did you get in? I know what you're doing now, which we'll talk about a bit later on, but how was the transition from parts and all that into global events? Because that's a whole different kind of ballgame, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, to say it, but yeah, well, the career path that I had was doing that job within the UK. I obviously did a good job, which got recognised within the central team. So you had subsidiary offices, and I worked in the UK office. The central team, which is only down the road, clearly liked what I was doing and what I was delivering, and I got a job as the global sales manager for clothing.
Right.
So that was the sort of start, and I did quite a few events in that and helping out, and then a job came up, or they created a job as customer experience manager. I think that's when I first met you, and I was customer experience.
Yes, I remember now. Yeah.
So giving customers reasons to ride bikes, which then developed into then doing the events and doing the events role. So, but that was very much, like I say, in the central global hub, which was great because you got to do lots of great stuff.
And go to lots of places.
Go to lots and lots of different countries, meet lots of awesome people.
So best, most memorable place that you've gone and done an event for Triumph, what would that be? I know there's going to be loads, Gareth, I know there's loads, but can you think of one that you would look at and go, yeah, that was the one?
The list is massive because there's so many wonderful places I've been to launch bikes and do reveals and parties and all that kind of stuff, which was amazing. But I'd say the place I loved the most, for a few different reasons, was probably Morocco.
Right.
And we did two launches, the Tiger 800, the Tiger 900. The first one was the 800 that we did. And we did it in yurts. And again, I always tried to look at putting the bikes in the places where they should be.
Yeah.
And that got the best out of the content for the press, the imagery, and it showed the bike's capable of what it's supposed to, what it's built for.
Yeah.
So Morocco was amazing, but also I tried to make it complex for myself in a way. So you'd only have so many bikes that you would have, but you'd have so many press to get through, and coming up with ways to maneuver the press about, to get them to do different things with the bikes, off-road, road, all this kind of stuff. Morocco was probably my highlight, I think, in terms of events, technicality, location, what we saw when we were riding, where we rode, and the challenges we had during the way as well were great.
And is that different? Sorry, it's not the Andy show and the Gareth show, by the way. But it's turning very much.
Well, it is.
Well, it is. but just the whole press thing, you know. I mean, now we've got influencers who turn up and want to do. But was it quite challenging with egos and, I mean, don't name names, but in terms of managing that whole, because you know who wants to go first, who wants to have that experience first. Was that quite challenging?
Egos within my own team, to be honest, was one of the biggest challenges.
Some of them are going to be listening. Going,
yeah, they probably are. Yes and no. As Triumph's a British brand, you always looked not more favourable, but the UK you'd give them the dates that they would prefer. Yeah. And then you'd work around that to give the dates. But it always worked out on who was the biggest publications and when do they get their stuff, their content in time to go into publication. So like MCN needed it on a certain day to go into the Wednesday newspaper. So you'd work it from that. But you would always keep the countries together. So UK were always together, French, Germany, Dutch, all that sort of stuff.
So Gareth, we know you're a big MotoGP fan. And obviously when Triumph obviously came into the paddock for Moto2, obviously that was a big thing for you. Obviously going to or sorting the launch out for that, weren't you? Yeah,
I mean, I was just as excited, if not more excited than anybody else in the business, I think, when I heard the news that they were going to be the engine supplier for Moto2, and obviously Moto2 moving away from Honda and everything else. It was a huge thing, and then having the privilege of being asked to set up the launch of Triumph, announcing that they're going to be in Moto2 was just phenomenal. And being at the circuit, it was launched in Italy at the San Marino circuit, and getting over there and arranging all the press shots on the straight with the engine, and Carmelo and Carlos Espeleta on the starting grid, and I've got Steve Sargent and Paul Stroud from Triumph and all the heads, and I'm organising all of those, and I've got a big press room with, I think we had about 100 seats there, fully kitted out, no space for anybody else. I mean, it was standing room only in that room, and it was such an amazing feeling walking around wearing your Triumph shirt in a paddock that hadn't seen Triumph, and everyone coming up to you going, we're so delighted that Triumph are coming into this paddock. Fantastic. It's amazing. And doing that launch and then being on the grid and, you know, walking around the starting grid while all the bikes are getting ready to go. It was like that, you know, I was a kiddie in a sweet shop. It was amazing.
Every
Did you get a chance to ride one though?
A Moto2?
Yeah.
Yes, the development bike. We did that. We took that to Silverstone. So I did a launch at Silverstone after Moto. So we did the launch of the engine in Italy. Yep. And then later that season, we then did an event at the Stowe circuit at Silverstone. We had Damon Hill and Charlie Borman and a few other people. I organised Sky Sports through my friend Ben Ransom, who's a presenter at Sky Sports. He came down as well. We did a bit of stuff there, and we all got a chance to have a little mess around on the bikes, and we had some street triples, Daytonas, and the actual development bike there as well. Yeah.
Sounds like a fun day.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard work.
Awful. Anybody listen to this, I mean, drop your comments in. Would you want to ever go something like that? I mean, is there a Triumph bike that you think that you would have loved to have a ride of, and certainly on a circuit like that? It must have been awful, Gareth. I mean...
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't a day, though, I have to say, and I think people hopefully at Triumph will still know that I did genuinely love every day I worked there. And I think having been made redundant in the past, I really understood the value of having a job and working hard. And that, for me, was what I just enjoyed doing.
It was a job and a passion for you, really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like you said earlier.
And I think
it's an iconic brand, isn't it? It's a true iconic brand.
Yeah.
And as a Brit, I mean, we're all very, very proud of the British brands, aren't we? But I'm just still in awe. I'm still trying to compute the actual riding the Moto2, the development bike round the track. I mean, that just must be... I just want to know a little bit about that experience, because it must have been absolutely awesome.
I'm not good enough to know the difference. I'm just too scared because I'm the event manager. If I drop anything, it's on my head. So I just have a little wobble around and then give it to somebody else.
Oh, was it? And Jen was like, it was just, oh wow, just get around the track to say I've done
get
it.
a photograph and then I'm done.
Yeah, all right. Okay.
Was there any whoopsies on the track?
I have had a whoopsie on the. I've had more than one whoopsie on the track, but yeah, not on that. Not on that one.
There must be a massive amount of pressure in that kind of thing. And what is it like, the pressure when you've got to get everything right? What's that like?
Yeah, I mean, managing events, certainly when you take 32 bikes abroad, you've got 150 press coming, the job is to make sure that everybody's looked after, everybody gets home safe.
Yeah.
That's the first and foremost, is safety for everybody. Then there's obviously the pressure of the factory and making sure that, we get the right write-ups that we're looking for and that everybody does their stuff. But thankfully, I think people that work within the industry, like you've mentioned, Scott, there's a passion as well. And I think that helps with the job. Everyone shares that passion. Yeah. But yeah, there's a huge amount of pressure. And, we used to let our hair down quite a lot on the last day. Once everything had done, we'd packed all the bikes away. It was, let's go and enjoy and celebrate that we've achieved such a great launch and everything's gone well.
And how much of that is absolute precision and how much is it like firefighting, like, oh?
Do you know what? I've said this before to people that I work with now, that events, when you're there on the live job, you're there to basically troubleshoot.
Yeah.
Because everything else has been done beforehand. You've put in all the plans, you've put in all the processes, you've done everything you can. Your job then during a live event is to make sure that what you've said or what you've done works. And if it doesn't, you're there to solve that problem. Yeah. So for me, that's how it should be.
So, I've known you for a long time at Triumph, and then suddenly, Woodcote, I've got it right, Woodcote Events, which you're now running. So how did that whole thing come about? And I do apologise for calling it Woodgate, because there's a certain
on several occasions.
Don't worry,
there's a certain side.
You didn't need to say that again. By the way.
Yeah, there's lots of words you cannot pronounce. Oban.
I think the viewers know by now, but my vocabulary and my pronunciation is not particularly brilliant. But anyway, so how did that where did the dream of Woodgate? No!
Really?
It's just written on his T-shirt.
I'm looking and I'm sure that's a G. No.
Are you thinking Gareth Gate?
You do look a bit like him. That's probably what it is.
I'd just like to say, viewers, that Gareth actually has it on his T-shirt to you listening in your cars.
He was stuttering earlier on. No.
Yeah, if you want to get your own back, to say, just eat.
Tom, can we cut that whole bit out? I'm going to start again.
No, we can't.
So tell me about Woodcote Events. How did that happen?
I think with a lot of people over sort of COVID, you think about things, and doing press rides and press events. There was a couple of particular events that I started to think about an idea with a friend of mine. I'm going to drop the names.
Drop the names.
Dan Limfoot.
Yeah, never heard of her.
She's lovely. He's obviously a ex-British Superbike, but now world.
Oh, that one. Oh.
Yeah, world endurance racer. Amazing guy. But he worked on a lot of events for me as one of my guide riders, and we'd come up with this thought because there was a particular event where we'd offered a prize to some customers to come on a press event.
Yeah.
And they got to meet some amazing riders that I had on my team, like Taylor Mackenzie, Gary Johnson, all these, great names, Maria, working on them. And then we also had some celebrity guests as well. So you'd have people like Foggy and I got friends from the music scene as well that were there. And, you see their faces and they're peaking at being on these events with these people. And me and Dan were like, imagine if customers could actually genuinely do this sort of stuff and go riding with these people. So we came up with this idea, and it sort of developed into creating some customer tours around the world, like a press launch, but led and guided by ex or current riders, racers, all that sort of stuff. So that's kind of where the idea sort of was born from. Another wave of COVID then hit after I'd handed my notice in, which was very difficult, and things weren't going well for the tourist sort of industry Jo, my wife, who was full-time in the business, I was still working at Triumph just before I'd left, and this other wave of COVID hit, and I thought, okay, we're not selling anything. We're not doing anything here. And we just decided that, we also had somebody else that sort of said, you need to invoice. You need to get invoices out soon. So I started freelancing a little bit here and there just for some agencies and trying to get some work back in. And I just thought, you know what, this is what we should be doing. We should be doing events because that's what I know how to do. I've never run a tour before. What am I doing? We pivoted the business and thankfully never looked back. And we've got some amazing clients that have supported us and continue to support us, which is brilliant.
Yeah. And what's the recent award that you've just won?
Award? Have you seen his trophy cabinet?
Well, one of many.
One of many, yeah. But what's the most recent one?
Which is probably the one we're most proud of at the minute because it's in our industry, so it's against our peers within the events agencies. So it's the CN Agency Award for Automotive Event of the Year.
Well, fantastic. Well done. Well done to Woodcote Events.
Thank you. And Gareth Gates at the top.
I remember we met a few years ago when a few of us used to do a ride out to Scarborough and go and watch some of the racing, and then we'd all jump on our bikes and go out and about. We had some great times. But I think it was the year after we went to Motorcycle Live in Birmingham, and you were working with Royal Enfield, I think it was then. And I must admit, we turned up and everyone said, "Oh, there's Gareth over there." And I thought, "Oh, Gareth's making tea and coffee for everybody." But actually, you were organising that whole event, weren't you, with Royal Enfield? And
so they had their main stand, which we didn't have anything to do. But they also, at that point, Motorcycle Live had the adventure experience piece. And they asked us if we could help deliver their element for that. So we ran that, and I was running their trailer, and
it was great. It was great. In fact,
didn't you persuade me and Tom to have a go?
Maybe
we might still have some video,
some footage of that. Yeah,
did I video it as well?
I think you did. Yeah. I think you did. I don't think I got out of first gear, and my arms were aching for days. Do you know what? That was my first ever. Like getting on a bike and going kind of off road because it was. I mean, while I was riding past, a lady came flying off and went into the barriers. Like, what's going on there?
I use the word off road very loosely there, Mike.
There's a barrier.
Yeah,
and it was, wasn't it? It was absolutely loved it. I absolutely loved it. But that was for my first kind of, other than going off road unintentionally, but it was my first time of actually having a go of something which is built for off-road, obviously, the Royal Enfield, and the Himalayan.
It's a shame, I think, that the Motorcycle Live don't do that anymore, because I do think it was a good opportunity for people to just have a little taster and see what adventure riding, off-road riding's all about. Because other than that, you've then got to go and pay to go and do a proper school or get a bike and have a go yourself. But
or actually go to the Himalayas and do it properly too with our friends Royal Bikers. But there you go.
Yeah, well, I think, MCL's a great event, isn't it? And foolishly, Martin, you and I stood and looked after bags.
I know.
I think Scott, Tom, and Andrew went on.
You got a really nice cup of coffee, though.
Yeah.
Didn't you?
I wasn't there. I was in the sandy place.
Yeah. You were in a sandy place at that point when you saw Andrew and Tom went on, and foolishly, we had an opportunity, and we should have taken the opportunity, but we were too frightened, too scared.
Well, one of us had to drive home, didn't we?
Yeah, one of us had to drive home.
We didn't want to break anything.
Yeah.
So.
But then there are other manufacturers on the day which are doing demonstrations, and looking how good their adventure bikes are, and looking, throwing them around, which is really nice.
Yeah.
But it's nothing like riding a bike, is it? I mean, really, I regret that I didn't have a go that day, and I wish I had a go.
Yeah.
And I know you were encouraging us all to have a go, and we, oh no, I'll look after the bikes.
Yeah. Well, I'm very good at encouraging everybody else. I never get to have a go on. So
how were Royal Enfield to work with then at that time?
We still work with the Royal Enfield. We manage their sort of rider, they call it Red Days, Royal Enfield Demo Days around, and we also manage their ABR riding experience as well. They're great one, and to be fair, their bikes are actually very, very good. Yeah. They've got a great price point for the customers. and they do what they're supposed to do. And obviously, there's a lot of heritage with the name, and there's quite a mixture of customers that we see when we do their days. You get the traditionalists that remember the Royal Enfield name, and then you get the younger customers because it's A2 compliant licenses that are looking to get onto something cool. And we really enjoy doing that.
We'll get on to ABR in a second. So I know we were chatting earlier on while we were having food about ABR, because obviously we're going to go to ABR this year. But what separates a sort of premium motorcycle event from what we would class as maybe a standard? What sets what you do apart from the normal, obviously award-winning?
Budget.
With several.
Budget.
Well,
Budget, yeah.
Well, no, he's not going to talk about budget. He's going to talk about what he delivers. But what is that? What's that difference then that you guys bring to it?
Crikey, that's a good question.
Thank you.
I don't have much thinking time for this one.
Well, you have a bit you have a bit of thinking time for that, because before we move on to that question, I just want to point out there that if there's an experience this year on a V4 Pangali, I'm
first in line.
So we'll have a go at that. So we'll go back to his question. I just want to make sure you're aware of that. Okay.
We will come on to Ducati in a second. But
a premium experience for me is about making the client. We take the problem away from the client. I think, and understanding what they want to deliver. So we sort of take that and we manage all of that for them, so they don't have to worry about anything at all. There's a lot of data that we provide as well, so we manage lots of booking systems and stuff like that. So we understand the customer, the detail that goes behind all of that. And as I said earlier, safety. We're entrusted with an amount of their motorcycles and customers that come. So there's a lot at stake with safety. So the team that we bring together and pull together is all about that. But then we also deliver whatever we've done with an element of fun. At the end of the day, this is motorbikes and it's fun. It doesn't need to be sterile. So merging all of that together, I think, creates that premium experience that we
and I suppose the data is really important, isn't it? From a manufacturer's point of view, they're wanting to know, who's interested in the bike, what the age range of that individual is of the bike. So from a design perspective, etc., they can invest that funds. Sorry, I've had to end the Andy and Gareth show here. Sorry. But
it's right. It is right, because obviously then that works then for future development of motorcycles, because they look at that data to see, right, where do we go in the next direction.
And I think from my past experience as well, I give them what I would have wanted. That job that they do, it's like what would I wanted to have seen. So I try and give them the data, the information that I would have wanted to have had at that point as well. So.
I think what's great is that yourself, you're a biker, you're in the industry, and we know so many people who try to be in the industry, but they're not bikers themselves. And do you feel being a biker yourself brings something completely different? Does it bring a certain sort of experience and advantage?
I think there's opportunities for both in the industry, bikers, non-bikers, because obviously we can learn from people that have been in other industries that come into what we do. So I don't think it's a must-have; it's a nice-to-have. I think there's. I guess the difference that I have with other agencies is that I have an understanding of the products and what makes that. How it makes you feel when you ride that. So from me, in terms of the. And thankfully Jo as well, she's a rider as well. We both, at the top of the company, we both know what that makes us feel. But we've got employees that don't ride bikes, but they also get that passion from us. So I think there's opportunities for both, and certainly in bigger companies, i.e. the Triumphs, not everybody in there rides a bike.
It'd be interesting if anybody's watching this in the comments as well. Put them in the comments. Have you ever been on one of your kind of events? Have you ever done that? What did you think about it? Was there anything that could have been done differently? What would you like to see, Gareth? And in an ideal world, what brand would you like Gareth to manage? Because I'm sure there's going to be brands watching, But
I mean, we again, that's another thing we do for our clients. At the end of every demo ride, demonstration, we send out a customer feedback form. Again, to share with the client, so they know that we're doing everything we can to make sure that the events are right.
So we know you work with Triumph. We know you've worked with Triumph, but you work with Ducati. How did that come about?
I mean, I mentioned sort of clients that have supported us. Ducati have been brilliant since the start, really, of our business and going into doing events. And it was through one of our guide riders that we use, Alan Batson. He's the sort of lead rider at Silverstone, motorcycle instructor at Silverstone. And he had the contacts at Ducati and said, look, I'm going to try and put your name forward and see if that'll help.
Yeah.
And that's all it was. Did a bit of an introduction, and the next thing we were asked to pitch for a roadshow.
Yeah.
So we got the job to present and got in front of Ducati and gave them this idea of an expandable pod and a roadshow and how we would manage it. Again, understanding their brand and the premium nature of what they do. And that was the start of now. We're in the third year of doing the roadshow. And, thankfully, because of how we delivered stuff, more jobs came off the back of that. Yeah. So MotoGP and track days and NEC Live and all those sort of stuff have come off the back.
Because we saw you at Motorcycle. I have to say that we got a really nice coffee as well. Gareth made us a great coffee.
I'm a barista as well.
It was a barista coffee at the Ducati.
It wasn't any
stand.
coffee, it was a Ducati coffee.
It was, but I mean, we came. I have to say, we were massively impressed.
Oh, blown away.
That was
blown away.
Amazing stand. I mean, we sat on a couple of bikes and just drooled and dreamed what could be. But how was that for you then, Motorcycle Lab this last year?
Stressful.
He didn't look stressed.
And long. At that point, I'm making coffee. I'm quite happy. Just making sure the roof doesn't fall off.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a dream client, I have to say, because they've got such a wonderful brand. But they're also very clear in what they want. Yeah. And I think if you can just understand those two things and give them what they're asking for with a little bit on top, it seems to work. Having not done a full build like that before, as in our own company, was quite daunting. And obviously all the regulations that you have with MCL and all that kind of stuff was quite tricky. And, at the end of the day, you're getting sign-offs all the time from Ducati that you're happy with this, you're happy with that. Yeah. And obviously we're directing how our build's going to go. It was a great experience. One that we're going to be doing again. So
excellent.
Yeah.
So we're well into 2026 now. What exciting things have you got coming up this year?
MCL, that's this year.
Yeah.
MCL's coming up this year, and just from an LCL for 2025, it was lovely being sat on some of the bikes that were there, and you'd had some fantastic staff as well, which were working the stand. Yeah. And I remember sitting on the Pangali, and a lovely gentleman came over to speak to me about the Pangali. And I was really fascinated about the difference between the V2 and the V4. And I made the foolish comment. I said, is there really a vast difference between a V2 and a V4? And he was brilliant. He very quickly and very sharply came back to me, 2 cylinders. And I just thought, how...
2 Vs.
And
it was so blunt and direct. It was brilliant.
And I just laughed because I just, it was the best comeback ever. And I just laughed at it. But it was... but then he went on to explain, about the horsepower and the difference in the horsepower, and also for the difference in the horsepower when the BSB guys get hold of the bikes as well, and what they tune them up to. But you can, just by sitting on it, you can see the development, how the development's gone from GP bikes, World Superbike bikes, into the product that we all buy. Yeah. And you can go to a Ducati dealer and buy these things over the counter if you've got the money, and I'm sure many people have got the money. You can buy these bikes, and they're just absolutely awesome. Yeah,
I
didn't say that word.
They're fabulous. They're absolutely fabulous.
They're fabulous. But they are awesome pieces of machinery, aren't they? With such a history behind them as well as a brand. And I'm sorry, Martin, I overshot your question about what's coming up this year. Yeah. But I just had to go on a bit of a rant. I do apologise.
Do you remember the guy, when the sales guy came over and said, I've just had some idiot come up and ask what was the difference?
I mean, he could have done his own work.
I don't know him. Nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
So ABR, tell us about ABR, because this sounds like this is...
Hang on. He hasn't answered my question yet.
Oh, sorry. I do apologise.
Oh, dear.
Exciting things for this year. Yeah. Again, delivering the roadshow for the third year for Ducati, obviously across the UK. Some new locations we're going to. So again, people that are interested in potentially test riding some of the new models, all their dates are on their website. Yeah,
we'll be there.
Have a look. We've got more Royal Enfield days as well across the UK. So they've now come up with a bit of a calendar of where they're going. We have just won some other accounts, which I can't announce yet. Ooh. It's not out in the public.
We'll do that in the green room after this show, and we'll quiz you.
Yeah,
while we're filming.
It might be out when this comes out, but I can't say on
He's going to tell us, but we'll beep it out.
Beep. Oh, really?
We've got track days, MotoGP work we're doing. We've got some more pitches that we're working on as well as a company. But we're going through quite an interesting phase, I think, as a business. Literally tomorrow, we've got interviews for a new event manager to join the team. So with new contracts comes more work. And
did you get my application?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, it's been put in the bin, Martin. It's a no.
It's a no from me.
Yeah. But one of the key things for me is with more work that's coming in, I don't want to drop the ball with the clients that we already have because they've supported us so much from the start. Yeah. So we have to expand. So there's
I mean, from what we've seen, we are dead impressed. I mean, it is fantastic.
I think it's
fabulous.
Great, honestly.
It's fabulous.
Fabulous.
It's fabulous. It's not fabulous.
Before we move on, Andrew, I'm really curious to learn about. So you will be doing up in Sunderland at the Ducati dealership up in Sunderland. You'll be doing an event there.
Yep.
What does that mean? So you've obviously got the ride outs. So I would imagine people will be able to put their names down now or book slots to ride various different machinery. What else will be going on that day that you've got to organise?
Thankfully, we kind of only organise the demo piece, but the dealer hopefully will do more stuff as well to encourage customers to come. A lot of the bookings are all done before the event, so it's all online. But there are slots during the day where people either don't show up, cancel, and there are spare spaces as well, so people can just kind of wander in as long as they've got their licence.
You've got 5 people that will fill in those places. And will they have all the different bikes on available for people to ride, or as a demo bike?
Yeah, so we try to have one of the key models. There's only so many bikes that we can carry in our unit that we take around, so we tend to have 10 customer bikes that we take about. And then certainly for Ducati, there's a couple of models that are going to be coming out slightly later in the year that are announced. But all the new models will be there.
And you mentioned, we kind of touched on ABR. Is that going to be big for you this year?
Yeah. It's
Do you want to tell the viewers exactly how big that's going to be for you?
Yeah, it's going to be great. I mean, again, Royal Enfield supported us at the very first year. We got the job with Royal Enfield where we delivered their demo rides. We did off-road and road, so I had off-road instructors doing that and delivering that. And then the following year, we then picked up BSA, and then we did Ducati. So we actually delivered the Ducati stand for them at ABR as well. So we put all the decking in and put the pod in and everything else, and I managed all of that. And then this year, we are just waiting for the last couple of signatures, but it looks like we're working for 6 different manufacturers this year at ABR.
That's busy, wasn't it?
Amazing. Yeah, we've worked it out that I think we're going to need about 37 in our team to deliver that.
We're going to be there, so if you want us to ride any bikes and polish
I'm happy
them,
just to.
If only you'd done that adventure thing at the NEC.
So Tom, that's me and you in.
I'm quite happy drinking your coffee.
Yeah, no, it'd be to be fair, the festival is great, and I think
amazing.
it's such a good thing for British motorcyclists to have such a wicked event. That's not a bike race. That's a reason for people to get together and enjoy riding.
And you've got people from all around the world coming to the event as well, haven't you? Which is so special.
We definitely found. I think that was one of the best biking events I think I've ever been to, and it's not what I expected.
No,
you turn up, you go, okay, this is interesting, and then by even Saturday, you're like, wow.
Yeah.
And we can't. I mean, it's going to be bigger and better this year, obviously, and certainly you're going to be busy. But we can't wait to go, and we're dead excited to do something, hopefully reveal something at ABR this year. So watch this.
Brilliant.
Watch this. Keep an eye on this. But so talking about your riding experiences then, I mean, we've ridden together for years, really. I mean, we used to come up to Scarborough and we'd take you out on one of our own events, if you remember. Yeah. I remember that first. Was it that first
Not
year?
as well organised.
No, it was. There was tea and coffee, but we didn't make
it. It was well organised.
It was.
It was organised chaos.
I'll look at Gareth.
There was a bed and beer. I mean, what else do you need?
I do remember one of the guys who said, "Hang on a minute, is that Signs for Lancashire?"
Yeah.
We took them from Scarborough, and we thought we'll go west and we'll just have some fun going west. And I just remember them saying, "It's bloody Lancashire," and it was. I mean, those were fantastic, but You've ridden all over Morocco, the US, Europe. What is the standout place? I mean, you mentioned Morocco in terms of doing a launch, but in terms of where you've ridden, where would you say is the best place that you've been to, and why?
I've done a lot around Portugal and Spain.
Right.
There's a road in Portugal that I just love, and we nicknamed it the roller coaster. That was a great ride. But I'd say at home, there's Langer Benz or the Bourne TT that we do as a group of mates. That's kind of where we would normally go, and what we call it the Bourne. It's not called the Bourne TT. It is now. We call it the Bourne TT because we all think we're riding around the Isle of Man circuit at the speed limits.
Yes.
Yes.
Is that Derbyshire or Nottinghamshire?
It's Nottinghamshire.
No, it's Lincolnshire.
Lincolnshire.
Yeah, which is a great ride.
Yeah. We need to come down and do that. I know you've asked us to come down and
I
think we'll try and fit that in this year if we get a chance to come down and stay over, and I think we'll do that.
Yeah.
Our calendar's getting...
We have literally... if the wives are watching, please don't watch.
It's making lots of promises.
But we are going to go to Portugal. Maya Kenny was on recently. And,
Maya, she works. She does our riding for us.
Yeah, and
she's mega.
She's persuaded us to go to Portugal sometime in November, which we haven't told our wives.
Yeah. I may still be working for Gareth at ABR at that point. Taking things down.
Yeah.
So we need to know what that road, I'm sure Maya knows that road.
Honestly, it's I've done so many launches down that road, and I remember the first time we found that road, actually, this is a story, I'm going off piste here.
Do it.
But we were doing, I think it was the Scrambler 1200 launch that we were doing. And we'd found this road, and I remember myself and Batty at the time had gone and found it. And I then came back to the hotel, and I'd got, this is again, massive name drop, I've got Taylor Mackenzie, Dan Limfoot, Gary Johnson, Joe Ackroyd, Alan Batson.
Continue.
I know, it's just crazy.
As my guide riders, and I was like, right, we're going to take you out and do the route now. So we went out and did this route, and honestly, we got onto this road, and... Scrambler 1200s are quite high with the pegs, and all of us were throwing these things, pegs grinding on the corners, everything else. I thought I was like a proper hero. I was like, yeah, peg to peg to peg. And we get to this petrol station, and we were sort of, and to be fair, the guys wouldn't normally, but we're all sort of high-fiving and thinking that was mega ride. Get back to the hotel. I look at the GoPro, because I had a GoPro on my back looking at them. I thought I was riding hard to get down this road. They're all just like doing wheelies and messing about behind me. But it was such a great road. And every day we went on this road, and it was, every corner's cambered, and it just throws you in and pulls you around. It was just up and down. It was, lovely road.
We need that road. We need that road.
So Maya, when you're watching this, we're doing that. Right? So if we could just do that for 4 days, then great.
Yeah, good road.
Wow,
good road.
Wow. So there's one place you'd go other than Portugal. Is there anywhere else you'd go back to if you're going to do a premium event again for a manufacturer? Is there anywhere new you want to try? Is there anywhere you want to take? I know that takes a lot of research and that.
Yeah,
but you haven't been yet.
Lots of places I've not been. Lots of places I see other manufacturers go that I think, well, that would be good to go to as well and do. I'd like to go a lot further east.
Right.
There was an event I did plan. We never did it in the end. But again, it all comes down to the bike. Where does that bike best fit? What's the purpose of that bike? And I remember us looking, I think it was something like the Tiger 1200 or something like that, and it was more to do with touring. Yeah. And I wanted to take the press through as many countries as we could. And I think we were talking about starting up in sort of France or somewhere and riding them all the way down to sort of Croatia and down there and all this kind of stuff and doing things. And I think for me, that's what I'd like to try and do still is take press on a journey for what that bike's designed to do. Further east, I would like to try and do more events in. But again, it comes down to time of the year, all that kind of stuff.
Availability, who can go, all the rest of it.
Budgets.
Yeah. I'm just absolutely enthralled by Ducati as well.
I know. That Multistrada's calling you, Andrew. It's calling you.
There are other manufacturers available.
So, but
you've only just bought a new bike?
No, I have. I haven't got my new bike yet, but I have bought a new bike.
He still hasn't got it.
I'm still waiting.
By the time this goes out, you might have had it.
No, possibly. Yeah. But the manufacturer's been absolutely brilliant, so thank you, B&W. They've been absolutely great. So I have got it in. But I'm really curious about all of those events that you're doing for Ducati. and you'll be doing them around the UK.
Yep.
Do you go further afield from that as well, or do you tip into Europe as well?
Not at the moment. So our contract is with Ducati UK.
Would that be something that you want to do, or is it really a closed shop in that respect?
I guess for the subsidiary that we work for, yes. But yeah, as a business, I want to get back into doing more of the press events around the world. That's always been one of my ambitions, is to eventually win a contract where we're able to deliver press events, press rides, that kind of stuff again. But I'm not knocking what we do at the minute, because I think, we've started to create something with roadshows, and I think we've now set a bit of a level with how they should be delivered. And customers seem to be really enjoying those experiences. But yeah, to be able to then do stuff abroad would be great again. And
from a personal perspective, I know you like a little bit of green laning.
Yeah.
You do like a bit of green laning. Yeah. That's a bit of a passion.
Not very good at it.
But it's a passion for you, isn't it? It's something you like to do, and it's something you like to learn from.
Yeah.
So what are you riding at the moment from a green lane perspective?
KTM 350.
Oh wow! And you're doing that with obviously your mates as well.
Yeah.
You're going out with a few different people, and you were chatting to us about that earlier on today, weren't you? About the various different bits and pieces. I'm looking round, and there are a couple of from knowing where you can ride as well, which lanes you can ride, and so you're using a couple of apps to do that, aren't you, at this moment in time?
Yeah, the first thing I did was join the TRF, which is the Trail Riders Federation, and to be fair to them, they've got a great website with all the maps and the trails to go on. But then I discovered an app called Wikiloc, where people like myself who don't necessarily want to join a big group, just want to go out and ride a couple of lanes with their mates, they create their own loops and stuff and load it onto that system. So that's sort of what I tend to use for off-roading.
Yeah.
So yeah, you stick to the same sort of routes that you kind of do.
And I think we've all found that there's various different apps. It's trying to get them all linked together, isn't it?
Yeah.
People using different applications and things. So you never know what might come along at some point.
Yeah. Well, there may be something coming that might answer that problem. But
yeah, I mean, as a company that organises rides, it would be amazing to have something that pulls all that together.
We're going to make a promise to you, Gareth, tonight. We're going to bring our own coffee and milk, but we're going to bring it from watch you make it for us. But we're going to bring something, I think we're going to bring something quite special to the market later in the year, which we're not going to talk about because tonight's all about you. But one of the things I want to ask you about in terms of the industry and how the industry is evolving, and certainly in terms of, I mean, you've turned up today on a hybrid, and I've got an electric car. Sorry, it's not mine, it's my wife's, but I ride a motorbike. I won't mention the brands. I won't mention the brands, but what's your thoughts on the kind of the whole move into EV motorcycles? What's your take on that?
From a personal perspective, it's a no. I just I think with most bikers, we like the sound and the feel of an engine. But there's other reasons why I think we're not ready necessarily yet, and that's because there's lots of different styles of riding. And certainly from my perspective, the riding I do, I want to be out on a bike and be able to do 100 and something miles before I have to necessarily stop to sit for 3 hours to charge up. But I also appreciate that city living makes absolute sense. If you're buzzing around a city and things, then to have a cool bike like Maving, I think they found a real great marketplace. They've got a lovely style bike. They've got their customer base. They're very city, and it works really well. I have ridden zeros and stuff like that and had a go, and I think they certainly perform very well, but they don't give me the longevity of mileage at the minute that I would be looking for. And then there's the other thing where you might, if they can do 100 miles, that's great. I don't then want to have to sit and stop. So it's like, is there a way that manufacturers could create something where it's a drop-in, drop-out battery that you could...
That was we were talking in the restaurant earlier on. It wasn't a pub, it was a restaurant. And I remember you saying that whole, they could all get their act together and have a universal way you turn up and go out with a new one. I think that could be game-changing, couldn't it? Because that takes...
That you literally open up like a fridge. There's your battery.
Liquid cool battery.
Shut the fridge.
They do that in Japan, don't they? I know Japan have that. They're quite, obviously they're normally well in front of us in the UK. and they do have that facility where you can go and just take the battery out your bike and put it in a new one.
Yeah.
Well, I think of 2 people that are in our group tonight that are going to go to the bike shed at some point.
Yes.
In the very near future. And I'd much rather go ride into the bike shed on a Triumph Scrambler 1200 Scrambler than an electric bike, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I just think it's a lot cooler, than... I don't know. I think there's a lot of development yet to do on the electric bikes, isn't there?
Yeah.
And there's some way to go.
It's infrastructure as well.
It is, yeah.
We're not ready yet for bikes to be solely electric, that's for sure. But I know all the manufacturers are obviously having to develop and work on it, but I think at the minute...
I mean, obviously that's just your opinion, isn't it?
Correct.
Yeah, I think we're all very curious, aren't we? We're all very curious about how the market's going to go.
Yeah.
And there's going to be lots of development. We'd be curious to see how it goes.
Yeah, and I think it is we're at that cusp of things changing, and and it's the same with cars. You drive an electric, I don't.
We can go outside and settle this right now.
He's not.
And we've got a hybrid. We've got 2 hybrids. You've got a hybrid as well.
No, I have not.
No. All right. Sorry.
He's a proper
Keep
man.
your shirt on.
Yeah. No, I know. We've got a hybrid. I think you've got a hybrid.
Tom,
as well.
you had a hybrid. Hey?
Got a bike and a walk.
He's got a bike and he walks, but he did have a hybrid. Let's just put that down for record.
So I'm going to jump on you a minute because I don't want to lose from the electric side of it. So obviously you've been in the industry a long time, and obviously with electric bikes, where do you see the motorcycle industry going next? What's going to be the big question that's going to be answered with regard to motorcycles in the future, next 10 years? I know that's a big and a deep question because of obviously electric motorcycles. Everybody thinks that's the future, but is it going to be the future?
I see manufacturers going down the line more and more of the smaller engines at the minute.
Yeah.
And I think, the 400s and stuff like that, which it's almost like it's a second bike as well. I don't know whether that's kind of the reason why they've done it, but I think the smaller capacity, certainly more crowded roads, the road conditions at the minute are terrible, that sort of stuff, and actually having something a little bit more manageable, more smaller, and again, trying to encourage the next generation of motorcyclists I think is the right thing to do. I hate to say it, but we're a little bit more of the older generation now. I'm still pining to have a sports bike. I can't ride one. And a lot of my friends will probably say you never could anyway. I'm a sports naked rider. I like those kind of styles of things. But I think the smaller capacity engines, you look at MotoGP, they're reducing their capacities. Everything seems to be coming down again. But things go in circles. Who knows? They might all of a sudden be back on sports bikes again. That whole adventure scene, which was brilliant from Charlie and Ewan when they brought their stuff out. Everybody wanted an adventure bike, and great, brilliant. It got people into riding motorcycles. Who knows what the next thing is? But I think it's certainly smaller.
Well, interesting. You mentioned there about what's the kind of one trend in motorcycling that you're not buying into at the moment? What would you say that is?
I'm not so sure you can answer that question because it might be a manufacturer you might be working with in the future. Or wish to work with in the future.
It's all right, we'll bleep it out.
I'm going to nip in a question here about faired or naked motorcycles.
Oh, so Tom's just asked the question. So if you didn't hear that, Tom's just asking the question about what Gareth's preference would be regarding faired motorcycles or naked motorcycles. What's your preference?
My preference is naked.
Well, you're wrong.
And what about bikes?
I think they're riding there. I do like a naked bike. I think there's nothing better than seeing the engine and all the working pieces there. It's a bugger to clean, but I do like it.
And having your head ripped off above 70 miles an hour.
Don't do it. 7 miles the maximum you can go.
Yeah, I think Tom's in the same camp as you. Tom's really keen on getting a naked bike, and you've been looking really hard at naked bikes. And we, and I'll talk about myself as a grey-haired old fuddy-duddy, saying you don't want a naked bike if we're going to go to Wales or anywhere, and you've got to ride on those and motorways and things. It's just all that just on your chest and your head all the way down there. But I suppose there's a lot of fun to be had.
Yeah, it's the all-roundedness for me, because you can take a naked bike on the track. You can have fun on the roads. You're not uncomfortable. Sports bike, you can do a track, and after a while your neck and your wrists are aching. An adventure bike's great. You can take it on a track. It's okay. personally, but I'd rather the sports naked bike for me is my preference.
Well, can I just dispel a myth there, by the way, because I followed you. I followed you riding an adventure bike, and you saying you're not good enough to ride a sports bike. I beg to differ.
Was that down the Helmsley TT?
No, it wasn't. It was coming back in, I think.
It was in the car park.
It was in North Yorkshire anyway. It wasn't down the TT, but I followed Gareth one day, and he's an exceptional rider.
Thank you very much.
So what keeps you riding after all these years?
There was a period where I was wondering whether I should carry on riding. And I think I was about 3 months without a bike, and I just realised why I was such a miserable shit.
Bleed that out.
Because I didn't have a bike.
Yeah.
And I can't not have one. I just love them too much to not have something. I've not ridden mine a great deal over the last 12 months just because of building a business, working, all that sort of stuff. But I would hate to walk in my garage and see an empty space.
Yeah. We'd all agree with that.
Yeah.
I'd like to go in our garage and see some space because we've got two motorbikes, 3 flipping mountain bikes.
Yeah.
And you're wanting to get like a CF motor or some smaller bike. I mean, what we're going to do?
It's all right. There's room in my garage.
I'm sure you would cope. That's what you would do.
We would cope.
Yeah.
The fridge is going to have to go.
But the thing is, like you were saying, it's the feeling of having a bike, going in your garage. Even if you don't go for a ride, you see a bike and it just puts a smile on your face.
It does.
If you know that's your bike, and you can go out anytime you want, whether it's rain or shine, and just puts a big smile on your face. And when you're having the dullest of days, go on your bike and you guys come back with a different mindset.
Well, it's anticipation as well, waiting for the season to start, to know I can get out on my bike. And like I say, Wednesday evenings with the lads and stuff. And I could not be on one. I just, would miss it far. As I did, I missed it far too much.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Go on then, because we're trying to stick to the format here. Because we're already been 3 hours. What?
do you mean there's a plan?
I've been trying to keep the plan going since we got here.
Did a great job.
Thank you.
Can I just say, because I know you're going to forget, if you're enjoying tonight's episode, can you like and subscribe, because it means a lot to us.
And share your comments. Have you ever ridden with Gareth? If you haven't, would you like to?
Yeah, I've enjoyed my experience of riding with Gareth, and
absolutely,
I've always been an admirer. So, which leads me into the next question. It's a bit of a segue. So we've ridden a lot together, and I think when we've ridden together, I've always ridden at the back through choice. I've always ridden at the back, but there may be one or two people sat around the table here. And the question is, who's the best rider in the group?
At your group?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! Throw us all under the bus.
Come on, Gareth, from your professional experience, and I don't think any of us would pretend to be.
I'd be really disappointed if you don't pick me.
And it's going to go. It's going to be.
Which is your favourite child?
Yeah.
Where did that question come from?
I'm not looking you in the eye at all.
There's 2 parts to the question. So who's the best, and who's the one you would least trust?
Oh,
flipping!
Oh my goodness me!
Yeah.
A nice question.
This was not on the list.
Just remember where you're staying tonight.
It is there, because there you can read it. Look.
I think from what I've seen in terms of the speed from being a novice to being an exceptionally good rider would be Andrew. And I think from when I first met you, and you hardly did any miles on a bike, and then you rode every day, all the year, any weather, your riding went like that. And it was really impressive to see. Yeah. I think from quality and safety, that's not in a bad way, you're a very safe pair of hands, I would, and the trust thing, with riding.
Keep going.
Oh, I'm just going to sit back. Thank you.
Scotty's gone very quiet.
I'm saying nothing. If it's not a sheep involved, I've had it.
I was just gonna obviously, the sheep incident was amazing.
He lined that up, actually.
Again, I have full confidence when I follow you or we're out riding. I think your riding is brilliant as well. And doing the routes that you guys do and the way you run your little group as well, being part of that, you do feel safe within your group, I have to say. I enjoy riding with yourself, and I put you on a similar level to Andy as well, I think, in terms of your safety and the way you ride.
At the back.
At the back, yeah.
But in terms of their vision, reading of the road, reading what's happening, they're two, I would say, are up there. And I think you're like your dad. Yeah, I think, again, from watching you start as a young rider to where you are now and how you've developed with your riding skill, you clearly are following your dad's footsteps, which is great to see as well. So hopefully that answers
I just follow him now because he's just always in front. Because I'm getting old.
I remember the first ride we did when we did the Scarborough run. The first time I met you, and you were on a Triumph. I think it'd been a speed triple maybe, or it was a street triple. It was one of those. It was naked. All I can remember is looking in my mirror and just seeing two headlights.
Yes.
Because it was like, these guys are enjoying this, and I'm looking at my clock and I'm doing the speed limit, but obviously you can still have fun at the speed limit. And I just remember looking in the mirror and just seeing these two headlights looking at me going, okay, they're with me, we're doing this.
See, I love that in a group where you ride tight and you're together. And you like you say, you've got people in your mirrors, but you all trust each other. Exactly. You all know your position on the road, and I love that. That gives you quite a sense of feeling.
It does remind me of the TT that time when I looked in my mirrors, exactly that, and there was you and Steve Clark. But I thought you were actually starting to tickle the back of my neck. You were that close, and we got into Elm Street, didn't we? And Clark came over to me and he just went, "Whoa, that was absolutely amazing!" And you were like, and the sparks that you were showering over us. I went, "What sparks?"
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
I
remember doing one of those down the Helmsley thing, and there's the jump thing. I think it was one of the first times I'd gone down there. I was on a brand new Tiger 1050 that hadn't been seen yet, and I was just running it in while I was up in Scarborough. And I did not know those jumps were coming, and I was fully airborne on this thing. And I'm like, oh my God. What a great run.
It's when you come down and everything compresses and your centre stand on the BMW digs in you. And I didn't know I would produce sparks. I just wish you'd had some cameras running, because that would have been amazing.
That'll have been on the 1250 as well, wasn't it? That
was me.
No, that was the 1200.
Oh, was it 1200?
That was a big, looked like a KTM, but we won't mention that. It was orange and black.
Yeah, and I think, those ride outs that we've had in the past where we've gone round North Yorkshire. Yeah. Where we've had Danny and Ed and Kev and Kev and Steve and Steve's.
And Rob Brooks. And
you guys, that's why the name is the name of the group.
The 241 Club.
241 Club. That was the first ever time. So we used to have a TT Club WhatsApp group that we were all in, and all of our friends in the Scarborough group. And then obviously we did the run with you guys, and we got back and we clocked 241 miles.
That was the Lancashire day.
And we were like, oh my God, it was dark by the time we got back. I think I'd run out of fuel and whatever else on my Ducati back then. And we renamed the group the 241 Club.
Oh, well, listen, Gareth, it's been absolutely fabulous having you on. I'm going to hand you over to my co-host in a second to ask you some questions, but we're going to continue talking, I'm sure, until the early hours in the morning. Till about 10 o'clock tomorrow. But no, from my perspective, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on tonight.
Oh, thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, if anyone's watching this and wants to, comment and, where's Gareth going to be at one of his events, I'm sure you want to come and meet the legend that is Gareth Bright, then please do get in touch.
And I suppose from that aspect as well, before we go into some quick fire questions, where can people find out what things you're getting up to this year?
Our social channels, as Woodcote Events, we post all the stuff that we sort of attend and support all of our manufacturers and clients that we work with. We share their stories and stuff. So that's probably the best place for seeing what we're getting up to and where we're going to be.
Yeah. And if you go along and quote Just Ride, you'll get nothing.
Well, not yet. We just we need to sell some stuff.
You'll be told to like and subscribe.
Would you like to do that for us?
Like and subscribe.
There we go.
So some quick fire questions. So money's no object, and you've had a good year at Woodcote. So what would you buy? What motorcycle would you buy?
There's a big list, but at the top of my list, it would always be the Desmo Sedici. Ducati.
So,
but I wouldn't ride it.
it'd just be an ornament.
Yeah.
Is that the £200,000 you mentioned?
I don't think it's as much as that. The Superleggera, the Desmo Sedici is already. It's an older style bike, but it's like a MotoGP bike on the road. It's just gorgeous.
So Tom's bringing it
the
up.
one below, the red and white one.
The red and white one.
Yeah.
So Tom will drop that into the pod as
Desmo
well.
Sedici RR. There she is. Look at that little view.
Wow.
Yeah, there you are. See what I mean about GP bike? That's on the road.
Wow. So as I get reminded, that's obviously fabulous.
I thought you were going to say, "Oh wow."
We have had customers turn up at the Ducati roadshows on those as well.
Really?
And I've literally just gone.
Where's my checkbook?
Look how beautiful that is.
Oh, that
absolutely beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's 2007 and 2007.
Yeah, they're not new. They're just gorgeous.
Certain actor, Jason Statham, has one of them.
Really?
Yes, because he actually rides it in one of his films.
We may.
Amazing looking
I wonder if that's one of somebody that might be in Gareth's book. Would he be one of the people in your book, in your phone book? Who's your motorcycling hero?
There's only one for me. It's Rossi.
No, that's going to be a really interesting debate, isn't it? About if Marquez. So we've got Agostini, haven't we, at the top of the tree, winning the most world championships, and then we've got Rossi, and then we've got Marquez. And if Marquez was Marquez could jump him, couldn't he, if he was to win this year? So
doesn't mean he's better.
Do you think Marquez would become the GOAT? That's the big question, isn't it?
The thing is, bikes are different every year. The competitors they're against are different every year. The tyres are different. The circumstances are different year on year on year. Like say Aggo back then, Paris, Sheen, the things that they were riding, they had the harder tyres, the terrible brakes and all that kind of stuff, the things that develop each year. So it depends on the rider and how they adapt with those particular bikes. But for me, that got me excited was always watching Rossi.
And also Rossi, whether you like him or not, Rossi is MotoGP. He made MotoGP what it is today.
Yeah.
All the other guys have just come into that and they've flourished off that. But it was Rossi that put the stamp in there that made MotoGP what it is today.
And look what he still does for it now.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Run his own team and
he's got the academy, the VR46 Academy with all young riders. He's still involved in developing and making sure that championship continues.
Have you ever met him?
On the grid, but not to sort of shake hands, just to stand next to him and go.
Yet.
Yeah, on the grid a couple of times I've walked past him.
There we go.
So if anybody's watching tonight that can make that happen.
Gareth and I will be available.
And me.
And Scott will be available.
Yeah.
He is an awesome rider and he continues to provide such a great service to MotoGP. And he's just awesome, absolutely awesome. But I don't know anybody that doesn't love him. I think we all love him.
Marquez.
I think there's a real respect between both of them.
Yeah.
They may not particularly like each other. Well, I don't know if Marquez dislikes Rossi. I know there's that famous clip of Rossi saying about Marquez, how would you describe him when he uses some expletives? But I think ultimately there's a great respect between the both of them.
It's 11 years since that happened.
Yeah.
In Malaysia.
Yeah.
11 years. That's a long time to hold a grudge.
And I say this every time we do the pod. I know this is quick fire questions and it's not about me, but when you watch the MotoGP this weekend as well, and you see Bagnaia, you see Bastianini and other people, and you see them racing, sometimes you think they may be on different manufacturing bikes, but they all go to the ranch. Mm-hmm. And you think to yourself, well, I wonder when you're getting the likes of Marquez between them, if there's a willingness, like, I'm going to really fight for somebody that goes to the ranch, not because of the manufacturer.
Well,
and it's just
Marquez used to go to the ranch. He went to the ranch. So it's just, but it's all a show. It's all a show, isn't it? At the end of the day, these guys go out there, ride at 200 plus mile an hour, and put on a show that we would never even get a chance to do. Is
that all?
Yeah.
What a great product.
They don't scrape their centre stands on the TT though.
They don't. Do they get over as far as me? Oh yeah, they do.
Yeah, 65.
yeah, they do. And
I think the next question, we probably know this, but we'll ask it anyway.
Well, I don't think we do know this. I think a favourite place to ride your bike?
Born TT.
There you go.
I thought you were going to say that road in Portugal, but the Born TT. We're coming down.
Because it's my bike and I'm at home, it would be the Born TT,
Right.
yeah.
Oh, I'm really glad that you didn't say Wales.
Oi, there's nothing wrong with Wales. There's some awesome roads in Wales.
There is.
Just lots more sheep.
Yeah, but it's closer to go to the Born TT, isn't it?
That is true. That is true.
Exactly.
No, we are going to come down and we're going to get into Kev and say, right, let's get some dates in the diary.
Yep.
And I think we'll have something with us we could maybe,
test.
Yes. Or use.
Go on, Andy, ask your last question.
Yeah. So the last question is, obviously it's been a great year for Woodcote Events, and you've made yourself a little margin of profit, and you've got a couple of quid in your pocket, and you're thinking, I'm going to go and buy myself something, an accessory. Are you buying a helmet? Are you buying boots? Are you buying something else? What are you buying?
What am I buying? Crikey. I always like helmets, I think.
How many
Julie
helmets
already
do you have?
doesn't like you.
Yeah. How many helmets do you have, Gareth?
Probably about 10.
Yes!
What? Yeah. I've got a nice display in the office at work.
We'd like to see a picture of those helmets.
We'll drop some
I've been very lucky as well. Gary Johnson's given me some of his TT winning helmets and stuff like that, so I've got those on display.
It's all right, Andy. It's okay.
Then I've got my off-road bikes. I've got my enduro off-road helmets. Got my enduro helmets, track helmets. I just love collecting bits.
Memorabilia.
Bits.
Bits of memorabilia.
It's when you go into your garage, isn't it? If it's extra space, it needs filling. So
I've only got 2, and that's too many for my wife.
yeah, I think I have about 10 helmets. Probably the same in boots, and God knows how many gloves.
Wow.
What is the helmet that you would buy?
What's the helmet I buy? Do you know what? I really like. I've got a Shark, which is carbon Shark. I love it. Love it.
I've got one of those in there.
It's great, isn't it?
Yeah. He's got a Shark carbon. Yeah. It's
so
taken him about 3 iterations of helmets to get to that one, but he has finally got a Shark
Do love it.
carbon.
Do love it.
It's amazing.
I've had AGVs and Shoeies and Arais and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But I do like my Shark carbon.
Shark. Can't beat a Shark.
Oh, that's my next helmet.
Well, we have done a little bit on the helmet, which hasn't been released yet on the podcast. We have done some on helmets, and we have been and had a look at how to get measured properly for a helmet as well. And we learnt lots of stuff that day.
Steph at Sports Bike Shop Leeds.
Yeah.
Big shout out. She was fantastic.
Yeah.
In fact, I went back. I bought a shoey.
She made him buy 3 helmets.
Didn't like it. Took back and got the Shark carbon.
Oh, okay.
I know.
Nice.
Because Tom looked at me with it on. He went, no. So I took it back.
You are a salesperson's dream, though. I've seen you at MCL as well, at Motorcycle Live. You turn up not buying anything, and the next thing you're walking around with a full set of leathers.
do you know, have you heard the story? I'm sorry, I've told this before, but we got back from the show, we went out on the Friday, or whatever it was, and I felt great, it took me ages to get into it. Got back, went out with him. I had a message from him, I couldn't get him off. I was stuck. I got one arm down, I was going, and you know that moment you think, I can't, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
So I got my phone and he had to come in and dress me. And then my wife said,
I reckon there's an excuse.
So, he held me out of it perfectly, I have to say. He lingered down there a bit too long, but anyway. Yeah. But my wife said to me, you're not going out on your own until you can prove to me you can get them on and off again. Seriously, that was anyway. Before we go downstairs and go into the green room, is there anyone you want to shout out to? This is your chance to plug. We haven't got all night, but if you want to plug, then please take this opportunity, look at the camera 1, camera 2, camera 3, and give somebody a shout out, or maybe many people. You've got 30 seconds.
Well, it has to go to the team that make Woodcote Events, really. So Jo, my wife and business partner, she is the reason why we have our brand and what we do. She's great support. And then we've got Mia in the office, and then we have a wonderful group of freelance riders, hosts that join us and work on it. But then again, I also have to thank the clients that continually support us and help us develop our business by trusting us with their brand.
Brilliant.
So, yeah.
No, that's fantastic. Well,
And well, I was just going to say, by the time this goes out, there should be another employee at Woodcote.
There will be,
Another employee. So sadly, that application is now closed.
So listen, I hope you've enjoyed as much as we have had Gareth here. It's been absolutely brilliant, and we cannot wait to get out, ride a bike with you again soon. We're definitely going to come down and do the Born TT. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, anything you want. I know I got it right for the first time.
You remembered?
But been a pleasure. Thank you for watching. We'll join you next time.